Hi, and welcome to the section 10 of our course. In this section, we'll talk about advanced frameworks. We will talk about the three different frameworks that Apple introduced on the last WWDC and that are available on iOS 11. So we will talk about core machine learning, CoreML. Then we will talk about the augmented reality framework, ARKit. And then we will talk about Core NFC. That is the framework that we need to use when we want to communicate with NFC devices. But let's start with CoreML. In this video, we'll talk about CoreML, what is CoreML and how does it work. And as well, we'll create a small example to recognize picture, what is inside the picture, using CoreML. Let's start from the beginning. What machine learning means. So for simplicity, we can say that machine learning is the process of giving a computer enough data and enough information about the data that the computer can learn something about the data. So, for example, let's suppose that we need to write an algorithm to distinguish picture of flowers. We can start writing down all the characteristics a picture of flowers should have in terms of shape, color, contrast, and so on and so forth. And then we can write an algorithm that checks all these attributes. And this algorithm should tell us if this picture is a flowers or not. This works to some extent, but doesn't really work. There will be probably some different type of flowers that we didn't think about in the first place. Like in this slide, you can see some different type of flowers, or some cases for example, multiple of flowers in the same picture. That breaks our logic. Machine learning, basically, it's a completely different approach. Now that we have this huge amount of data that are generally available on internet, we can try a completely different approach. We can take literally millions of pictures of flowers and give all this picture to an algorithm and tell this algorithm, those are picture of flowers. And then we can also take a million of pictures that are not flowers and tell this algorithm, those are not flowers. And then the algorithm can analyze all the different aspects of this picture and generate what is called the machine learning model. Machine learning model is basically a file at the end of the story that can be used to analyze different images and give us back a probability if this image is a flowers or is it not. And this is what CoreML is about. Basically, with CoreML, an iOS application can interact with this machine learning model that was not possible before. And in this example, we can take this machine learning model, put inside an iOS application, and make this application able to distinguish picture of flowers. Now the question is, where can I find the machine learning models? Now depends on what you need. If you have, for example, your own factory and you need a machine learning model to distinguish a picture of a good product from picture of a bad product, then probably you should start thinking about training your own algorithm. But if you want to just learn how CoreML works, then the Apple website is a good starting point. At this address that you can see here, you can find a lot of interesting articles about machine learning in general. And you can also find some pre-generated machine learning models that are ready to be used inside iOS applications. Now let's check the demo. I have here an iOS application that shows a picture, and below the picture there are two labels. So the first one is train station/platform, and the second one is subway station/platform. These two labels are coming directly from the machine learning models. Basically what this application does, check these images with the machine learning models and extract the two values that are the most probably value for these images. So in this case, this image represents probably a train station platform, that is, I would say 2, or as well a subway station platform. We can also check with another image. In this case, it's a forest path or a rainforest, looks good. Or we can try with another one. In this case, the machine learning model says parking lot or a coast. As you can see, the machine learning model is not something that we can always trust 100%. In this case, for example, the first answer is completely wrong. It's a parking lot. And this defines the quality of the machine learning model. The quality of the machine learning model depends on precise this machine learning model can guess the content of the images. The last one is a lighthouse. That is true. Now let's check the code. Everything that is related to machine learning is inside these methods. So we get the image as a parameters to this function, and we get the CG image. Then we instantiate the machine learning model that is called the Google Net Places. Then we initialize the request handler. The request handler is the object that will take all the requests and will give us all the responses. In this case, we generate the request handler passing the CG image and the orientation of the images. Then we generate an array of requests, and then finally we can start trying to generate the model. If the creation of the model was a success, then we can finally create the request. And the request comes with a completion block. And the completion block contains the information that the machine learning model extracted from the picture. In this case, for example, I extract only the first two, the first and the one on position 1. And then inside the main thread, because this method is called probably on background, and then inside the main thread, I updated the label. And this was inside the completion block. So now I have appended the request to the array of requests. And then in background, I can tell the request handler to perform the request. So as you can see, is not much of code. And it's of course simpler than what was before.